Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the place where you learn new skill every time you visit. So keep updating yourself by subscribing to the channel.
All right, so this is question number 7 of the sample paper. Define a class to input a 3-digit number and check if it's a duck number or not. A number is duck number if it has 0 in it. And you have to check for validity also. If it is more than 3-digit, it has to be called as invalid. Okay. So basically, first we have to break a number into digit, and I'll just quickly explain how does that process work. Okay, so 798 is a 3-digit number. 798. And I'm dividing it by 10. To get a digit out of a number, mathematically, you have to divide by 10. So 10, 7, 70. You pull out 9, 8, 10, 9, 90. And then 8 is the remainder. So the first remainder happens to be the last digit. Then you take out the quotient out of it and divide it again by 10. 10, 7, 70. You got 9. So the second remainder is the second last digit. Then you pick the quotient again and divide by 10. Now this case, the dividend is less than the divisor, so it won't divide. So in that case, computer will pick the dividend itself as the remainder. So this is the first digit. So basically, it breaks the digit. This process breaks the digit from the reverse. All right. So now we'll do it practically on Java. Let me move on to the BlueJ. Okay. And here, I've already coded this, and I'll just explain you this code. So over here, we have taken a number from user. We need to count digits, so digit variable is also there. And digit variable is for breaking out the digits. Count 0 is for counting how many digits, because the question is how if there is a 0, it's a duck number, otherwise not. Then whenever you are doing a digit breaking question, always keep a copy of that variable, because you need to might require it at the end, all right, depending on the question. So I've taken another variable copy, which will take a copy of it, and there is a length, which will check the length of that particular thing, because we have to check the validity or invalid case also. So now I got the number from user. I took a copy of it into variable copy. I'm running a while loop till the number is more than 0. So if you remember, suppose 479, I divided by 10, 47, right? Then I divided 47 by 10. It becomes 4. Quotient I'm talking about. 4 by 10. When you divide 4 by 10, it will be something like 0.4. So your quotient, integer part of quotient is 0. So as soon as the quotient becomes 0, the loop ends. So that's why this while loop is going till the number is more than 0. These all are numbers we are talking about. This question. Every time I divide this and this, so these all are numbers, okay? So as soon as the number becomes 0, the process should stop. So that's why the loop goes like this. Now we are using a modulus operator to pull out the digit and storing it to digit. And then next time, if you see this process, I'll just pull that up again. Yeah, if you see this process, first I have done I calculated the remainder. All right. So 7979. So this is the remainder with the modulus operator. And then I use the quotient to divide it again. So how do you calculate quotient out of any number? You divide it by 10, right? So that's why the division sign is used. So these two steps are for digit breaking. Anyway, anytime you have a question based on digit breaking, this loop is very, very important. You have to apply this loop. Okay. So let's go ahead. And then once we got the count of the digit, now here, if that digit happens to be 0, I'm counting into count 0. I'm also counting the length at the end of the while loop, because I need to check the validity also. Now when the while loop ends, when the digit becomes 0, I'm checking if the length is more than 3, I'll say it's invalid. If it is not, so in the else part, the whole of the code, rest of the code will go. So in the else part, we'll just check depending on the value of the count 0. So if count 0 happens to be 0, that means there are no zeros. When count 0 is 0, there are no zeros. So that particular number is a duck number, the copy, where I stored the original copy. because the number itself has become zero, right? It keeps on breaking up, but the copy still holds the original number. Is a duck number, otherwise it's not a duck number. All right. So this is the way you have to solve this question number. And now let me go to the next one. Okay, so this is question number 8, the last question of the lot, where we have to use overloading concept to create two functions display, one without a parameter, one with single parameter. The first one you have to use a nested loop to print this pattern. Another one you have to take a number, break it into digit, and then print the square root of every digit. All right. So let's go to the BlueJ and see how we are going to do this. So I'm switching over to BlueJ now. I will create a new question. This is question number 8, I believe. So let's create a new class. Question 8, 24. All right. Since it's overload, now what is overloading concept? Overloading concept is something. It's a part of it actually depicts or supports the polymorphism property of Java, which says that when you have more than one function by the same name, it's called overloading. All right. So existing in more forms, that's the definition of a polymorphism. So this supports or is an example of overloading. So question number 8, 2024. Since this I only have to create functions, right? So I will say void display. The first function will be void display, which will not take any parameter. And the second function is going to be void display with a integer parameter. Okay. So now the one which is not taking any parameter has a fixed number of rows and columns. Let me take you to the question, because to print the following format, you just have to print this particular format where your number of rows goes from 1 to 5. Okay. So again, this is a concept of rows and columns. So rows are going from 1 to 5. 5 times you have to print. So downwards, as I mentioned to you in the, as you know, in the arrays also, the downwards are maintained by I and the right ways are maintained by J loop. Okay. So nested loop you have to use. So the number of I loop goes from 1 to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and J, the end value of J is changing actually, right? So the first end value is 1, then it becomes 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Okay, so you have to keep this in track. The first value is fixed. Sometimes the first value also changes. The first value is fixed. The end value changes from 1 till 5, and number of rows are 5. So when I say end value, that means the last limit, the upper limit of the J loop is end, which is changing. And the I loop simply goes from 1 to 5 because it's fixed 5 number of times. Now, this is the idea we have to use in our while we code. Okay, so let's go to BlueJ and try to code this. So we would be requiring a scanner. The reason being in this, the next one, I have to get a scanner. Okay, let's do without it right now. So we will run a loop for loop for I int I equals 1, I is less than equals to 5. All right, so I, as I told you, the I will go till 5. Then I also told you that the end value is going from 1 till 5. Okay, so let's take a variable. I'll try to do it in simplest possible way. So let's take two variables rather, row and end. So my row is 5, as we counted that the row is 5. So let me take it as 5, and then my loop will go till row. That makes it easier for you to understand. Every time the pattern, the row changes and the column changes, or the end limit of the column changes, or the starting value of the column changes. So you can have variables like start, end, row, column, kind of those things. So right now, the first end is 1. Okay. So I told you, or we discussed that the two loops will go on. It's a nested loop question. The second loop has to go till end, j plus 1. Now, I'm not saying this is the only way. You could have done it by a very quicker way, but this is the way which everyone will understand, and that's the idea. Everyone should understand this question, every student. So now j equals to 1, j is less than equals to end, and what we are printing? We are printing the value of j, all right, because When we see the pattern, if I show you the pattern again here by writing it out, it's something like this. 1, then 1, 2, then 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I told you this is J, all right, and this is I. So the things which is J printing, that is the J, because you're printing in the horizontal form, which is J. So let me just do the printout here for the system dot out dot print. Okay, I need not to give, I'll give a little space so that it's not clumsy. Plus, and then I'll print J. Okay, and J ends. Now, the value of the end, right? As I told you, we discussed that end is keeps on changing. The first end is 1, then it becomes 2, then becomes 3. When it becomes 2, when the line changes, when it goes to a new line, then it becomes from 1 to 2. Because when it changes, when it's go to a new line, the end becomes 2. When it's go to a new line, the end becomes 3. When it's go to a new line, the end becomes 3. So that's the place where it changes. Also, a new line has to be introduced and the value of end has to be changed. So I'll introduce a new line at the end of the J loop. And this is the place where the J loop ends. J loop is ending here only. So I'll just introduce a new line here. And what I'll do is I'll just update the value of n by 1. That's it. So this is your first pattern, okay, or first display function. Now let's talk about the second one. The second one, the number is to be input and then you have to break it into a digit. It's a 4-digit number. Let me go to the question again and see, have they mentioned number of digits over there? To print the square root of each digit of a given number. So any number, all right? So I have to get any number, irrespective of whatever number is the number of digits, and then break it up into digits and print the square root of every digit. So the number, the n is a thing which has been given to me. Now, in one of the questions, previous video, we have discussed that how to break a number into digit. So I would be requiring a variable called digit. I would be requiring a variable to hold the square root of that. All right. So sqrt of digit, which is going to be double, of course. Okay. And then I'll run a while loop. To break a number into digit, we have to have a while loop that we discussed. Let me just take the screen up so that it's visible to you. So I'm breaking it up while my number n is more than 0, right? Not more than 1, because 1 can be the last digit or the first digit in the breaking part. So while n is more than 0, you use your digit breaking loop, which always goes like this, n modulus 10 and n equals to n by 10. All right, so you got the digit now. So you got the digit now. And now what we'll do with this digit, you just have to put the square root of this digit. All right. So you are going to use a square root function, math.sqrt, to calculate the square root. And you'll store it into a sqrt dig equals to math.sqrt of your dig. And that's what you have to print, because you have to print square root of every digit. Okay. So I'll just print it out. Slash n, which has to go to the new line every time as the output shows you, and plus sqrt dig. Okay, and that's loop ends, and I think it shall work now. Let me just try to have compile it here. No compile, but now to run it out, I need to have a main function. But the question is not asking me to create a main function. So theoretically, when you write in exam, this much is enough. You're done with this question. Okay. But to check it out, I will create a main function to show you that how these logics are working or not, to make it to make sure, to ensure. Okay, so here it goes. So now I'll call the function, and this function, the first function, needs nothing. It does. It doesn't need anything, so I'll just call it simply display. Second function needs a parameter, a number actually. Okay, so either I can just call it and give any number to it. Let me give the number, which is an example. The example has been 4329. So 4329. That's it. Okay. So now I'll just compile this. Question number 8, right here it is. Object is being created. And when I run this object, I'll go to the output screen somewhere here. Yeah, it gives me the pattern and it gives me the square root. Let me check the square root. Of course, it has to be the same because the function being used 1, 4 with this 173. Correct. Okay. So this is the way this question has to be done. If you want to limit the number of digits like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 up to 9 digits, it's up to you, right? You can use a formatting the 4 D over here along with it and it works. Okay. So that's it with this sample paper. Thank you for giving me so much of time to view these videos and understanding the concept. Please work on this. Papers are easy. It's not difficult. You need to practice, right? Thank you very much.
If you are new to the channel, please subscribe it. Also press the bell notification so that you get notification as soon as I release a new video. Share and like the video.